All right, we're back, and we're going to continue to work on this whole concept of, am I going to get stronger or do I want to be faster? And first of all, today we're going to look at this power equation of force times distance divided by time, and we're going to think about, what about this distance component? And this distance component is how much you're moving as a human, and that's really dependent upon your flexibility and your range of motion at your joints, and really also the joint stiffness or the joint mobility itself. For example, if I'm doing a lift with a given load from my knees to my hips, the load is how much force I have to generate, the distance is from my knees to my hips, and the time is how quickly I can get it. Now, for the distance component, we need to look at, do I have the flexibility in the muscles around my hip? Do I have the range of motion necessary to do it? And that really comes down to this whole concept of extensibility. In other words, how extensible and ease of movement is there at those different components of movement? And really it comes down to stiffness. Stiffness is a term that we use all the time. Oh, I'm stiff in the morning, I'm stiff after that workout. But stiffness does not equal shortness. In other words, I can be stiff but not lack range of motion. All stiffness is saying is that for order to get movement to occur in that joint or in that muscle is I need more force. Example being, I take a piece of rebar and a paper clip. Both are the same length, let's say. The difference in how much work it takes to bend them is the rebar, you got to apply a lot of force to get it to move. Same distance it can move through, it just requires more force. The paper clip, super easy to move, less force. So one of the conundrums when we start looking at distance in humans in this power equation is, how much work are you actually using just moving through the distance? And what we want to do is we want to make sure that that distance factor, or the extensibility of the tissue, the stiffness within the tissue is really, really low, so that the power, the force that's being used is actually not going to just moving stiff objects. We want them fluid and dynamic and extensible. And we'll talk more about that later.